Good evening, friends. So we had an excellent session from the morning. In fact, the last session, I think it will be a continuation of what got you here will not take you there. So we all understand this, right? So now we have a very powerful and a very experienced panel who are going to tell us and help us to pick up few points which will help us to scale our business. So that's the topic which we are going to see. So generally as MFDs, we all know that we are in the Amrit Kal. I think from morning we have spoken about this many number of times. So before asking the panel a question, I thought I will engage the audience a little bit. Because I know the panel is ready. I don't know whether the MFDs are ready to scale up. So let me ask a question. So what is the industry AUM today? Okay, great. What was it 25 years before? So it is around 80-90,000 crore. So let's round it off to a 1 lakh crore. Which means in the last 25 years, from a 1 lakh crore industry, it has become a 40-41 lakh crore. What is the CAGR? We all speak CAGR every day. What is the CAGR growth? So it's 16%. I have worked, so I know it. So it is 16%. Okay, so now let's understand the power of compounding. So in the next 25 years, which is going to be the Amrit Kal, where will be our industry, assuming we grow at 16% compounding? Any number? Wild guess?
Whether we grow at 16% or not, it will cross 1 lakh crore.
Yeah, meaning you're saying 100 lakh crores.
100 lakh.
So this is where power of compounding is very difficult for all of us to understand. If you just do a multiplication, last 25 years 40 times, next 25 years 40 times means it is 1600 lakh crores. Are you able to digest this number? Yeah, 2 trillion. So that's the kind of opportunity we are all sitting in front. So let's understand the industry is going to grow. But are we going to grow? And generally as MFDs, the moment we reach that 50, 75, 100, 200 crores, generally it's a congestion zone. So that's where most of us actually don't proceed from there. So to understand more and to take this business to the next level and to scale up, so we have some very interesting questions and expecting some very interesting answers. So let me start with Mr. Mohit of Franklin. So in today's world, especially in a time where TERs are coming down. So this is a known fact. So now we are already on automated mode. So what we are getting today, 3 years from now, it is going to be lesser. So in today's context, is scaling up a choice or is a mandatory thing?
Okay. Generally, the easier questions are the toughest ones, Sundar. So, because I don't think not to scale is an option. I'm sure each and everyone in the hall and the same number of people who are standing outside, maybe right now, will agree with that. So you have answered the question yourself when you set the stage, right? That we have grown multiple times, 16% CAGR in the last 20 years. And the number can be very staggering. Look, it's all Excel magic, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm not commenting on you.
Yeah.
But that's the mindset generally we look at numbers. We don't believe in ourselves that we can get there. Somebody thinks, and generally when I'm doing these sessions with the fraternity, I also show these growth numbers and I question people hard. Put a hand on heart and examine what had been your growth. If this industry is today 40 lakh crore, is the people in the room, someone has grown 10x in last 5 years. Someone has grown 5x in 3 years. Someone, maybe many of them, have not grown at all. So you need not look outside. Not to scale is not an option. Data is interesting. You put AUM numbers and I put it down to the micro one on the household level, correct? So it's an interesting report by Morgan Stanley, which talks about the distribution of the household income. So it's very interesting. If you look at the middle of the pyramid, it's known as from $10,000 to $35,000 bracket. There are 16 million households today in India. This will be 170 million in next 10 years. My simple question is, who is going to cater to these households? Who? So to answer your question, I don't think anyone, while even sleeping, should think not to scale. You have to scale big time. You should have sleepless nights. I think that's the way, the mantra I would want to put in each and every MFD sitting in this room. Please continuously think what needs to be done to scale up. And there are hajar ways to doing that.
Absolutely. Thank you. So the message is, it is not an option. It is a mandatory requirement because your top line can keep growing, but your bottom line, if your top line does not grow, your bottom line can actually keep decreasing. So that's the situation in which we are. So growing is a very important aspect. So let me go to Mr. Gaurav. So what are the few things you advise MFDs for scaling up? So you would have met a lot of MFDs across the country. So any few tips which will help us?
Okay, thank you for this. First of all, let me just thank IFA Galaxy, Mr. Narayanan, Mr. Mohsen, the entire IFA Galaxy team to invite Canara Beco. We are very privileged to partner with IFA Galaxy. And many, many congratulations for such a large event which has been organized. And I think a lot of speakers have talked about invest in yourself. I think the very fact that we have a full room of people, learners available here, that you have invested in yourself. So I think big round of applause to each one of you, that itself. So I think I would attempt this question in a different way, and I would say that we have to change our lens. I think we have been talking about AUM growth, people have been talking about industry growth. I would say let's talk different language. Instead of AUM growth, the same question means, if you ask me, if I have to say that how many people would have grown 20% CAGR, AUM growth, 30% CAGR, AUM growth, in this room, this is a room of successful people and everybody would raise their hand. But my question is different. My question is, how many of the people in this room have achieved the similar unit growth for their investors versus the AUM growth? So is your number of units of your customers is increasing at the same rate, at a higher rate than the AUM growth? And if the answer is no, then then we need to really go to ourselves, back to the drawing board and see that, okay, how we can work with our customers to ensure that we actually start working on the unit growth, because AUM is nothing. Number of units multiplied by NAV is AUM, is giving you AUM. As long, what is in your hand is how you can increase the number of units. Rest, NAV growth, market growth will actually translate into the AUM growth. So that's the first lens, first perspective which I want to share. If you want to scale growth, if you want to become big. The second is, when you look at, I think, a lot of data, and one common data which everybody has talked about is in terms of the kind of opportunity which is available in the Indian household asset mix. Fact of the matter is that despite we are being at 40 lakh crore, despite that everybody is growing in terms of AUM, fact of the matter is that still it is only 5% of the household saving is there into equities. And 95% of the assets is actually not in equity. 65% of the assets of our customers are in physical assets, only 35% is in financial assets. Out of that $10 trillion or $11 trillion which we have been talking about since morning, even if you move 1% of your customer assets, we are talking about $100 billion of movement to the mutual fund industry. So that's massive. And therefore, when the conversation with the customers are happening, it's not about X mutual fund doing better, Y mutual fund doing better, or Z mutual fund doing better, and which is the best performing fund. I think the conversation with the client should be in terms of how you can actually move the money which is there in the bank deposits to the mutual fund industry. And it's no brainer today. If you look at even a liquid fund today, an overnight fund will actually outperform a savings bank account.
Correct.
Okay, and that's the kind of opportunity which is available. But are we talking about that opportunity? Are those conversations there with the customers? Today, the banking industry is 175 lakh crore. And there, the customer money is actually lying at a much lower rate than what even a very simple solution like an overnight fund, a liquid fund can give. Forget about, if you talk about other debt funds, they can actually potentially can outperform other funds. So I think it is all about in terms of those back to basics, simple conversations. We are actually too much, on one side we have Google investors, which are actually looking at different funds, which is the best performing funds. And second is that, okay, I think we ourselves have become so myopic in terms of which fund is doing 1 month return better, 3 months return, 6 months better. But the bigger opportunity is in terms of looking at the entire customer balance sheet, having the conversation with the customer with those balance sheet, and then start working as a solution provider, whether, for example, if you talk about PPF versus ELSS, it means you take the worst performing ELSS mutual fund, and that would have actually outperformed the PPF returns for the customers. So these are the facts which should be part of our conversation with the customer, and it should translate into the real movement from the household pie to the mutual fund industry.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. So take simple products. So sir rightly said, I think we've got so much of assets lying in the savings account. If you can actually just position the product right, I think we can actually scale up much more. A very simple idea. Thank you for that. So let me move on to Mr. Rajesh Singh. So though we are in the business of investments and we keep hearing that we should not be emotional when it comes to investments. But at the end of the day, we are dealing with humans and emotion is part of it, right? So how do you actually connect with clients emotionally so that the deal can be done or we can make the client start investing?
And let me thank IFA Galaxy, you and entire people for giving this opportunity. It's a pleasure. Before starting this, may I ask one question? Since I represent Bank of India Mutual Fund, so what is the tagline of Bank of India? If anyone can say one line. What is the tagline of Bank of India?
Beyond relationship.
Yeah, very well. I think relationship beyond banking. Thank you very much. So what I say in mutual fund or the investment, I always say, that relationship beyond investment, So why I say that? Because, of course, we all talk about the future plans, goals, dream we sell. But I think it's important to connect customers or any partners beyond the investment, beyond the goals. So how do that? I'll tell you a very classic example of one of the MFD when I met him, and it was very interesting to know that how he is connecting emotionally with respect to his clients. So what he said that? He said, see, we all know that, we have to remind SIP dates, we have to remind birth dates, we have to remind marriage anniversary day, which is very important to connect emotionally. So what he does, he said that he invites customer in his office to cut cake on their either birth date or the anniversary. So these kind of emotional attachments always, give either in the morning we heard someone that each customer bring one more customer. I think, and from the experience of his, doing this activity, he said that he was able to get more clients from their reference by saying that this kind of support, this kind of effort, this kind of personal taken care by the respective MD has been done. So I think emotion, which we always sell. Also, I think as Gaurav just shared on the product side, sometimes what happens, we are so emotionally attached with some particular product. I think we should not be emotionally attached with the product. We should always emotionally attached with the future potential and our knowledge skills. Like a small takeaway from current market, yes, equity is good to create the wealth, but at the same time, it's important to beat inflation and also consider the short-term duration. Like today, the debt funds are doing better than equity for a one-year product, if you take it as average. I think, so what I'm trying to say that, yes, emotion is also important, but at the same time, as an advisor, as a MFD partners, I think it's important to consider the market situation and advise to customer, which helps you to get the more and more business. Because as we heard since morning that everyone said that, 80% comes from 20 and 20 from 80. So if you look it from the investment, I'm sure you also must be experiencing the same thing. Even in the mutual fund also, I'm sure colleagues would agree that the inflows comes more from the 20% partners or the 20% clients who are the larger. So I think we should also focus on then, focusing on the future goals with considering the current market. Yeah.
You want to add something?
Yeah, I just want to add, and I think it's a very pertinent question which you have asked in terms of how you create, bonding with the goals. And I would also recommend, the way, for example, I believe while we all have been talking about AUM and the growth, but we should look at in terms of what is the unit, number of the units growth which is there. But very, very important is what is the goal, how many goals you are managing for the clients. And when you start tracking, I think that's very, very also important to scale up your business. Secondly, how do you create an emotional bond with a client is again by talking about the same goals. And if you can connect your investments with the goals. And for example, if there is a client goal in terms of the daughter's marriage or child education, can you name that goal? Name that goal, and whenever you are talking to the customer about that goal, I can assure you that despite any kind of market volatility, despite any kind of situation there in the market, they will not stop that SIP.
Yeah.
There will be emotional bonding. There will be a dil ka rishta for those goals which will be there. And once you are able to establish that dil ka rishta, the goals, for the client it's a win-win situation because client benefits to the entire, you will be able to manage his emotions to the entire period. For you, definitely it is a win-win situation because it's a long-term wealth creation which you are contributing to the investor. So creating that dil ka rishta with the goals is also extremely important.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, please.
So, when they're talking about emotions, maybe I'll just go back to where the human being started and what is the differentiating factor between the mammals and everything else. It is the social bonding, it is the connection. And somewhere, or everything that Rajesh and Gaurav talked about is a goal which is linked to that. Retirement, education, marriage, house, anything. At the same time, what I want to add is this, that I've been about 25 years in the industry. Why do I see our segment more IFAs growing than the other segments, the banks and so
Larger
on?
players.
Why is it that when 25 years back, it was the NDs and banks who were ruling, but today the majority is coming towards you because you are connected to to your investor, you are connected to the goal of the investor, and almost the things which they talked about, cutting a cake, linking. Why is it that you are called to a marriage and others maybe because you are emotionally connected?
Yes.
And the other segments may be only transactionally connected. So do not let this is the power of the relationship. So keep this strength with you. Do not let this go. You will have challenges sometime. It will happen. Somebody comes in and say, look, there's some other interesting product. The investor may not understand hearing these things every day. But the percentage of assets that Sundar started from 40 lakh crore, and if you go into retail, why is it that 5 years back, the non-corporate, the non-institutional segment beat the institutional segment? Because institutional assets were always high. Maybe it is slow progress, but it is steady progress. It will remain very, very long.
Yeah, thank you, sir. As you rightly said, in fact, there are many cases which we deal on a day in, day out basis where the parents tell that this is information only to you. If something happens to us, it should reach our children. I think that's the kind of responsibility we have. It's not the AM, as you kept saying rightly. Question again to you, to JP sir. So not taking risk is the biggest risk, which we know. So when it comes to building capacity, so one thing is it is like a chicken and egg story where many of us think, let the business grow, I will expand. Is it the other way that you expand and the business comes? Your thoughts?
I think this is where Mohit started. The simple questions are tougher ones. So I think we'll never get that answer perfectly right.
Yeah.
It is something you have to evolve with. So these some challenges which has come up in the recent times is what are benefiting us. So we are talking about scale and we are talking about investment. I would say that what the study says is this, that once you start a business, and I'm taking a fact that maybe 20 years back many of us started a business, you might have been alone. The requirements may not have been many. Some of the requirements may have been, you would have been able to cover up from the AMC by taking a statement, by taking valuations. Today, as India has grown, the requirement has grown, the portfolios have grown. So you are taking help of technology, you are taking back-end help. I remember that 25 years back, if your mental mathematics was good, you could calculate many things. We used to write things down. Since I'm a chartered accountant through 3 years audit, I could blindly run a calculator, which I can still do it today. But all those things are no more available or are not valid today because everything is mechanized today, automated. You can, if you have a website or if you're taking support of some platform which can take these returns, capital gains, they become large, they become complex. So automatically you need to invest. So now you have to segment. There's compulsion of investment which will help you compulsorily to overcome competition, to give good service to your client. And naturally, I'm expecting this will lead to your growth. And there might be some investment which is your choice. So do you need to start with 2-3 branches offices immediately? Or do you start with something now, use platforms, as you grow, you invest, as you grow, you recruit more people, you attract more talent and so on. So I would say the requirements which are there to overcome competition, to clients, do client servicing should be invested in. Some of that can be staggered but are necessity. But other than that, it's a choice which I think individually it may vary.
Yeah. Yeah, please.
Very well answered, JP. So when it comes to investments, and we are all finance professionals here, we start thinking of numbers. Is he talking about adding more people, salary dena padega? Is he talking about expanding more branches, capital expenditures? I'm saying sit back and relax. At least one investment that is badly needed is investment in yourself. And there is no disagreement I think anyone would have. There is one thing that each one of us should be very clear about in this business, that investment is so mandatory. And I'm sorry to say, there's big apathy in the industry. Though I should be wrong because I'm talking in IFA Galaxy event. All of you have shown that willingness to learn. But when it comes and sitting back in your house, when you're there in your offices, take out that time, build up the schedule, have that time carved out, please, that you have to add value to yourself. Well, that's what you have to sell. You have to sell yourself first. And other investments, as JP also added, a lot of it will be discretionary, depending on what stage of business you are, what technology you want to adopt. But still, I would say in our business, we don't have to buy a large plant, machinery, offices, land, capital, nothing. If it takes that investment, take that plunge, बहुत सारा काम है. There's tons of potential there. You will need investments for that. Please mentally be ready.
Yeah. Thank you for that, sir. Yeah, please.
So on this investment part, I just want to share one story, So like a lot of us, maybe initially when the digital thing came, we all thought why to invest, there is a cost. So I met one MFD and he was sharing a story, So he said that he was doing all business in the offline in a physical way. And one fine day his nephew who came after studying MBA and all that, he suggested, why not to go online? So he said, boss, online, why? There is a cost. And, the cost was something around 5 lakh or 10 lakh annual to, purchase the software. So initially he was very reluctant to go about it. He said, what's the cost? I cannot afford it. And after a lot of persistence by his nephew and all, finally he bought the software and goes live. You won't believe what he shared. He said that, Rajeshji, within a 6 months to 7 months, my cost, whatever cost I invested, my inflows through that website or through that software is now 2x and 3x.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say, or agree with everyone, that of course sometimes when the cost comes, we always think twice why to invest. But I think if you take some logical call and think about today's world, because most of the customers and investors are looking for the daily report, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a time when mutual fund used to still be published on fact sheets. But today now investor wants daily fact sheets of his own investment.
Yeah.
So I think that's how the today demand is, and as a market player, I think even for the mutual fund also, most of the mutual funds are trying to go with WhatsApp and all. So I think investment is one where we all have to do consistently and regularly.
Yeah, thank you. So I will just take this platform as a feedback to all the people who are in the sales and marketing side. So when it comes to our industry, I think sometimes the coining of certain features are not right, meaning maybe I'm putting a statement. So when it comes to SIP, I think as an industry we have done great. So the last 10, 15 years, I think whatever marketing which we have done around, I think finally it has started. The next product is the SWP. But somewhere this WP has a problem. W has a problem where it says withdrawal. Okay. So the moment you position this as a withdrawal product, the client immediately thinks that we are going to withdraw it from the capital. So why don't we coin a word something like SBP, like systematic benefit plan, like the previous speaker was speaking. So SBP is going to be a big product. I'm sure you all know. Maybe every one of you can tell what at your AMC level you are doing to promote this product, because this is going to be a big thing. And as MFDs, I think most of them have already started practicing it. Maybe JP sir can start and maybe we can go.
Little difficult because I think it's a habit which is built. The problem is if, like, you're calling me JP. About 20 years back, this name was given to me because my full name was Jatinder Pal Singh Karewal.
Okay.
So when I got married, I was called Jatinder. Even my wife calls me JP now. The problem is now, if any one of you calls me Jatinder, I may not respond.
Correct.
So there is a problem out there that it is possible that when something which is happening 25 years will change, it may not be adopted until everyone decides to do that.
Yeah.
But still, Sundar, it's a very good advice because while we may laugh over it, I don't want to write off the fundamental and the need behind that. So at our MC level, I think this is already started for some time. My guess, we will put up a date now. So we are also launching the systematic withdrawal plan, and we call it the power SIP. You accumulate through SIP, and after a period you get back systematic withdrawal. So I'm using the word systematic withdrawal because we can't use the word annuity.
Yeah.
Out there. And naturally,
So is there any constraint on using this benefit as a word?
Not sure. I had asked my compliance person about this. So our guess is we will not get this clearance from, or it may be taken negatively out there.
Okay.
We can't use the word.
Okay.
So we thought about this, and this is happening last 2-3 months. Swap, all those words we are used, but it's very difficult. But still, recoining, I'll take this suggestion from you.
Okay.
Right? We'll, and as a matter of fact, I think all of us should do it.
Yeah, definitely. As an industry.
So I'll step back, Sundar, a bit. And so the names on a lighter note, you can keep regular income plan, it becomes RIP. Rest in peace. So, it's not in the name, and don't get me wrong here. SIPs didn't become powerful because SIP word became popular.
Yeah.
SIP became powerful because these people in the room took it up as a big solution to the fraternity.
Yeah.
And I think many a times I have seen that we discount ourselves. I think all of us have done a phenomenal job. Correct? So a 14,000 crore kind of a money every month is not a joke.
Yeah.
Correct? And please understand, this is the only unique mutual fund industry in the world which is spending 800 crore rupees on education.
Yeah.
Right? It's like 2 basis points at 40 lakh crore. So yes, it's a suggestion well taken, and maybe if there are 4 people sitting here, in our shape and form, we'll take it up. There's something on the mutual fund Sahi Hai, the award-winning campaign. Not only the award matters, but has really taken mutual funds to the ghar ghar.
Correct.
So in that note, can the withdrawal thing can happen at point, I would say take back, and we can see what can be done about it. But in our limited way, I will request with each and every one here in the room, this is all about solution. Future is all about solution. How you provide that regular income solution to systematic withdrawal would matter. The way all of you have made systematic investment plan so powerful, whatever you choose to call it, even the income part will become as powerful because people will have to look at mutual fund from the eye wearing glasses of solutions.
Yeah.
That's more important.
Thank you. So your thoughts?
Yeah, I think one thing is very, very clear, and there is a consensus that it's a very, very important solution, very powerful idea, and it's a client need. So the client needs it, and there is a solution, a tax-efficient solution, which is available in the mutual fund industry. As an AMC, we have actually included that as part of our investor education program. So that's been included there. Of course, I think from a name perspective, we can look at different options which are
A little more
compliant
innovative.
and
Yeah.
which are within the compliance range, so that people can resonate it better. But definitely there is much more communication which is required both from AMC side and from distributor side also to create awareness about this solution. So I think it's a joint effort as an industry which we have to do. From our bit at Canara Robeco, we have already included that as part of our investor education program, and we are going to amplify that again, talking about the solution aspect.
Yeah. Thank you. Please.
Thanks. So as a Bank of India mutual fund, our current business is around 70-75% comes through MFD partners like you all, and of course 20-25% comes through the Bank of India channel. As you all know that the bank investors are more a regular investor who always looks for the regular income. So yes, as AMC also we are taking initiative toward this subject, and I think we have also started doing IIP in the same way as Gaurav is saying. So yes, we are also looking positive to take it forward, these options going forward.
Yeah, thank you. Because I just voiced out because this is the voice of majority of the people. So I thought it's a good forum to bring it. So what we measure is what we grow, right? So meaning whatever we measure, that's what grows. So what are the tools as an MFD? So this could be for anyone can answer. Maybe Mohit sir can start. So what are the things you think as MFDs we should track? Because when it comes to MFD business, majority of the cases it is either one man army or two. So generally we are reasonably good at sales in meeting clients, but when it comes to the back end or in terms of tracking, how? And especially we are actually sitting with a large client base, and as 80-20 rule works always, majority of us over a period of time actually don't concentrate on the tail. So any input on that?
Sure. So I'm going first. So Sundar, you must be wondering, I'm answering all different, you're asking me some other question, I'm answering something else.
Yeah, that's okay.
So, but I think they are related, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
So you're asking whatever you measure grows. So no, it's my old, I've spent about 25 years now, it's 23 years with Franklin Templeton alone. One problem I have with all of you, and allow me to be very candid.
Yes, sir.
4 people sitting here, and how we 4 are different from the people on the other side here. We are salaried individuals, right? And you people chose to be entrepreneurs, correct? Great. Is that reason good enough? All 4 of us have targets, okay? We have annual target broken down to quarterly targets, broken down to monthly targets, and maybe somebody be really doing daily targets also. That's an extreme high.
True.
Why don't you have targets, yaar? First thing to measure. And if you have, I do this, I ask people, do you have targets? People answer, yeah, Mohit, I have target. So what is your target? Generally, people give me answer that I'll triple my AUM in 3 years. I have target, I will do as many SIPs per month or a quarter. I'm not talking of that target. What you want to measure first, no sir, ladies and gentlemen, have a target to yourself. How many phone calls you want to do in a day? Yeah. What time of the day you want to start your office? I'm so sorry, and don't get me wrong. Many people get very complacent here.
Very true.
You should have a target to portfolio review. You should have a target to yourself, yaar. Why not? Just because you're an entrepreneur. There's no one asking you with a danda on your head. No one is reviewing you. Have that measure. That's my viewpoint. Have a measurement. You should have, I will make 10 bloody phone calls every single day. I will have these many client meetings in a week. I will do these many activities in a month. All the AMCs are sitting here more than eager to work shoulder to shoulder with you.
Perfect.
There's an apathy. We do investor education programs, but you people are not so eager because it takes toll on effort.
Yes.
I'm being on a risk of being unpopular here, but I'm being very candid here. So that's what I would suggest you should measure in terms of your effort. You should have a goal, because when you have a goal, then you unleash achievement drive. That's a simple formula. If you don't have a goal, you will have a lazy day start.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir, for putting it straight, because, because we need that, because nobody is there to beat us. So I think forums like this and events like this only actually take us to the next level. Thank you for
I
that.
think it is the era of antagonist. So what Mohit just did is, he just tried to be he will become a hero out of being a villain. so that's well said. So I'll not repeat those points. I'll just add to connection he talked about, phone calls and so on. I'll just put one or two more parameters out there. Look, as an industry, we are about 14,000 crore SIP book. And on our active equity side, we are about 16 lakh crores, plus minus something. So we are about, 10% of the, maybe about 12% of the book. If I multiply 14,000 into 12, I'm leaving the realization out. We are about 10% of the industries on SIP book. So you question yourself, are you at least 10%? So I always tell everybody, and this is a goal which I kept from a team also, 1% minimum you should be per month, which is 10 to 12% you should be adding from SIP. Because there is a segment of investors who are who are people like me, who are on salaries. If you don't take my SIP, it will be taken by somebody else.
Yeah.
Because I have a monthly saving, it needs to be saved, it needs to be invested monthly. And so keep a tap on your SIP book. It may be slow in progress, but it will grow someday the scale will be very large in that. Second part, I think purchases, growth, everything is linked, because when Sundar was talking about the growth, if 25 years industry about 16-17% growth, you can take that as a ballpark. That you need to grow 16% of your business every year, but this will vary. When you are a smaller AUM, you're managing smaller AUM, your zeal and your target should be larger. When you become larger, the zeal should not come down, but maybe you need to invest more to grow more, or the percentage may be average out. And third point which I want to add is, keep a tab on your redemptions. Because when redemptions happen, important thing is you should know why redemption is happening. It is goal-based. Somebody needs it for education. Somebody needs to buy a house. Do not think the investor is out.
Yes.
So if you know how to again connect to that investor, when to connect, and somehow to get back the money. Because ultimately, some of the goals you are running, some may come unconditionally or conditionally. You depend upon the situation of the investor.
Yeah.
So keep a tap on that. You should at least know why the money has gone out.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. In fact, Mr. Saravanan is here. So he has a unique position in his organization where any SIP missed, so he has a separate person for it who calls and makes sure that the SIP is purchased. So thank you for that. So
I just want to add to that question which you have asked, and I think that's very pertinent and very central to the entire growth paradigm which we talked about. And if I can share, from a corporate perspective, the learnings, then there are two types of targets which I would say. So it's not only about output target, because people often talk about AUM growth only. So there is one input target which you can have, which is, it could be in terms of meeting the number of clients, depending upon the kind of business model which you have, or having conversations, planning goals. So, but that input target is extremely important, and if you start tracking that, then you will get the desired outputs.
Yeah.
The second is in terms of, which I earlier talked also about, rather than only looking at in terms of asset under management growth or the targets for AUM, start looking at in terms of goals under management. And when you start looking at goals under management, you will see that, as the family of the goals is increasing, your AUM is an output of the entire thing.
Yeah.
And second aspect, which is, if you look at it from the corporate sector, why each one of us are answerable to someone. The CEO of the company is answerable to the board. You all are the CEO of your business. Appoint a boss for you. That boss could be a mentor. That boss could be the board which you wanted to appoint. But have an accountability. If you have an accountability partner, somebody to whom you are reporting, somebody to whom on a quarterly basis, on a monthly basis, you are actually sharing your input dashboard and output dashboard, it will start reflecting in your performance, and you will start improving the matrices which you have actually decided for yourself.
Yeah, thank you. You want to add, sir?
Just to add it, I think it's a very simple way. Most of the time, we always look for the new clients, new investor, but I think it's important to also look at the existing investor. When redemptions, most of the time people don't track it. I think that is most important to first look it to outflows, existing outflows, and then look it for the, the new inflows. Second, I think since morning, we are all seeing what kind of opportunity available in the market or the going forward, $100 trillion, 1.14 lakh SIP book. If that is so going to happen, then I think the most important for us is the two part. One is optimism within ourselves that yes, this is going to happen. And second is I think confidence level in ourselves that yes, this is what's happening. And if we can add these two things, I think no one can stop to scale your business or grow your business.
Thank you. Thank you. So one final question, maybe a rapid fire. So at any given point of this, everyone can answer. Any point of time you thought of being on the other side of the table, becoming an MFD? Maybe I'll start from there.
Yeah, I would be honest many times.
Yeah, great. Okay.
Same here.
Okay.
Anyway, I started my career from Anand Rathi, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I came from your side only.
Okay.
So 3-4 years I worked, but last 22 years I've been on the MC.
Simple answer, yes, but I think life is long and maybe sometime I will be on the other side of it.
So there's a good chance till now.
For sure, why not?
Yeah, yes.
Still
Perfect.
young and hearty.
Welcome, yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that very engaging.
Sundar, I'm sorry for allowing me a minute.
Yeah.
Because I had got something very interesting, and I want to share and use this dais today.
Definitely.
Because I was expecting that question and somehow didn't come. It was about technology.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
So I think Chat GPT, how many of us have heard about it, Chat GPT? I think all of us have heard. May have heard about many businesses getting disrupted. I just want to leave the stage with a lot of, I would say, confidence in all of you that we are kind of irreplaceable. So it's my Delhi-based distributor who has posted on the Instagram handle. It's a question asked to Chat GPT, by the way. It reads, can you create a financial plan for me?
Oh. Okay.
Chat GPT verbatim answers, I am sorry, but as an artificial intelligence language model, I do not have the capabilities to create a personalized financial plan for you. Financial planning involves taking into account many personal and financial factors, and it's important to work with a financial advisor who understands your unique circumstances and goals. So, here is all the very best to all of you, but don't be complacent. Machines are not taking over.
Yes.
So
Thank you. Yeah.
I'll give you parting words.
Maybe quickly, sir.
Before I came on the stage, I think Ritesh was here, and I'm sure whole day you would have heard everybody. 1993, I passed out, I became a chartered accountant, cost accountant, so I put my goals. So you're talking about goals. I put down my goals, and we said, we're three friends, all chartered accountants, we said 50 lakhs. The day we have 50 lakhs, we retire. The time was 42 years, we were about 22 years old. 20 years we gave to ourselves. And what was simple calculation? Interest rate was 14-15%.
Correct.
And we could run a household 2,000-3,000 per month, actually.
Yeah.
Because my first job was at 4,000 being a qualified chartered accountant. So when those 50 lakh came, 1 crore came, I don't know. All those are gone because now we are in dollar, we talk about dollar and all those things. That is what we should be doing it. If you have not done anything till today, for 75 years, the next 25 years, Amrit Kal, right?
Yeah.
You're going to do 10 times what we have done in 75 years.
Yeah.
If you think you are in wrong place, you're mistaken. If you think you're wrong business or wrong, you are mistaken. The only thing is think that you have not done anything and restart. Because in the next 25 years, leave 25 years, 10 years, you're going to add 2x. 75 years where you're coming 2x, you are going to add. But the delta growth comes when we earn more. And that is what we are going to do now. So $2,200, $2,300 to $5,500 in the next 10 years per capita, right? The differentials will be such that the West is still trying to understand our middle class because they don't have a middle class. And we have already created 3 middle class, upper, middle, lower. And maybe we'll create 6 more like that in the next 10 years. And people like us who are born in lower middle class, they know the definition, who still thinks we are middle class, may have joined that 2% bandwagon that we talk about. And I'm assuming that most of the people in this room are those 2% India bandwagon. The absolute growth is going to be so large, we cannot imagine.
Yeah.
They need people, we need people to manage our money. So you will not be relevant till you decide not to upgrade yourself.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir, on that happy note that financial advisors are deeply needed.
Thank you so much, sir.